Paul Graff.
And I'm Samantha Buffalo. We're with Twin Beans Coffee, and this is Shop Talk. Today we're going to get to talk to you about grinders. We're going to look at different types of grinders, help you choose what might be good for your home brewing, and then also talk about how to dial it in. We talked about grinding a little bit on one of our previous videos on extraction, what it does, why it's important, and why having the consistent grind really affects your brewing method.
So there's two basic types of grinders. There's a blade that just spins and chops, or there's a burr that cuts one burr on top of the other and they cut the beans. So the disadvantage to the blade grinder is consistency. So it's an inexpensive grinder. You might spend $15 or $20 getting one at like a Walmart or a Target or something like that. But what happens is that blade just spins and it chops those beans, those coffee beans. What you're gonna have is you're gonna have some really big pieces and some really fine pieces, and those fine pieces are gonna over extract. The big pieces are gonna under extract, and you won't get a consistent cup of coffee that it's gonna taste similar each time you try to make it. And so we always prefer a burr grinder. They are more expensive, but the consistency is much more helpful with that. We have right here, we have the Baratza line. They're a very good group of grinders that are designed here in the US, they're put together here in the US, and parts are easy to get, so if something breaks, they can last a long, long time, many years.
This is the Baratza Encore. It is great for home brewing if you're just going for basic drip coffees, Chemex, AeroPress. If you're not going into the world of espresso, this is the one we would recommend. This is the Baratza Virtuoso Plus. And this is the option that is really good if you're going to be dabbling in the world of espresso, or if you really want to use that timer feature. This one doesn't have the timer feature. This is the one that's going to enable you to push the button, walk away, do something else, and come back, and it will have stopped grinding for you. The last option, which is probably the top of the line for home brewing, is the Baratza Sette Oui. There are two Baratza Settes. This is the one that allows the weighed out dosage. So the Baratza Sette Oui will allow you to weigh your dose, and it's used for so many different brewing options. Can you tell us about the inner workings of what's going on in here? Can you show us some of these burrs?
Sure. So there's two basic types of burr sets. There's a flat burr or a conical burr. And one burr is stationary and one burr spins. But as you look close at this, you'll see that there are two that stick out, and those are your pre-cuts, and then you've got your fine cuts on here. So they spin and they cut and they stay this consistent grind, and the coffee is forced out through the hole in the middle there and then into whatever it is that you're grinding into. These are flat burrs, and they're called flat just because they're flat against each other. Now when you see the conical burr set,
oh, it's a cone.
Yep, conical. And so they'll have one that's stationary. This one is usually stationary. This one usually has a piece of threaded rod that goes through it, attached to the motor, and it spins. And you can set how close these go. See how they go like this? And you can get them almost to where they're just barely, not quite touching. And that'll get you your espresso grind.
Conical versus flat burrs preference, or is it truly just the grinder? We'll just go with the design that works best.
My experience with these is that if you're buying up at the higher quality levels, I haven't found a lot of difference in taste between the two. To me, they taste pretty similar. It just is whichever style works best and which one you understand how to adjust. It seems to be the best way to go.
The last grinder we haven't talked about yet is this little tiny thing.
So this is a manual grinder. It's the same idea, but it's just a lot slower. But I use this one specifically for Turkish coffee because I can set these ceramic grinds, burrs, really tight against each other. And then as I use it, I've got this set so that I turn it 30 times whenever I want to do Turkish coffees.
So when you get your grinder home, this part, the hopper, is going to be separate. It's not going to be sitting on top like this. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to assemble it by popping that in and twisting it until it starts to click. And that clicking sound is where it's adjusting from the 0 setting all the way up to the 40 setting, the grind size. So tell me what's happening with the burrs as we're spinning this.
Okay, so at 40, the burrs are the farthest apart, and that's what you would use for a very coarse, either French press or cold brew. As those clicks get lower and lower down into the 20 range, where we'd probably use a drip coffee somewhere between 18 and 20, it's putting those burrs closer together so that as they spin, they're creating a finer coffee ground. And then as you go all the way to something like a Mocha Pot Chemex, as you go a little bit finer, you're getting those burrs even closer together.
Perfect. Get your favorite bean, give it a try, see what you like, and then use your adjustments to dial it in even further. Hopefully this has been helpful for you today. I'm Sam.
And I'm Paul.
Thanks so much for watching with us today. Happy brewing.